Hey everyone, Eric here with Chicago Bears Daily. Today I'm going to be focusing in a little bit on Darnell Mooney. Everybody talks about how the Bears receiving core is so tattered and how Mooney can't really be a true wide receiver one. While I agree with that in a sense, he still has time to improve, but he seriously has potential to get there, and the argument that he is too small, he's too small, he's not quick enough. He is on the first hand. He is quick. He's fast. He has that twitch, and he. If you think he's too small, look at Tyreek Hill. Look at Antonio Brown. Obviously, he has a long way to go before he reaches either of those. It's hard to get game-breaking speed like Hill, but Brown, he could if he improves his route running, keeps his hands consistent, he has the makings to be a true wide receiver one. And I was reading the other day on Pro Football Focus. They called Darnell Mooney as the Bears' most underrated player, and that came as a surprise to me, the rest of the league, because to us Bears fans, it seems like Mooney was an absolute star on our team, but underrated, it was surprising. And it talked about how clearly he outpaced Allen Robinson, and that's partly due to Robinson's off-the-field issues with his contracts talk and his injuries last year, and the fact that they didn't really, him and Allen Robinson and Justin Fields didn't necessarily build that connection like Mooney and Fields developed. But that's sort of what comes into becoming a number one receiver, building that connection. And I saw an interesting stat. Since Mooney was drafted, he has dropped just 4.1% of his catchable targets in Chicago. And to me, that was amazing to me, because what that says to me, he has reliable hands. When the ball is thrown his way and it hits him in the hands, he's going to catch it 96% of the time, which is pretty damn good numbers. Those are reliable numbers. And when I saw that, those are wide receiver one numbers, and obviously he hasn't really truly been the wide receiver one just yet. He hasn't had that pressure taken off of him, or that he hasn't had that pressure put on him, I should say. So it'll be interesting to see how this season goes. I think with him being the wide receiver one, that'll create opportunities for guys like Velus Jones Jr., Byron Pringle, everyone else, and it'll be interesting to see Mooney. It'll be interesting to see Mooney be that guy, and I truly believe that he can be. We can of course get stronger at the receiver position. We have, don't forget, after this next season we're gonna have stupid money and cap space, so we can go out there and sign one of those big time receivers that everybody was hoping that we were gonna do this year, but. For now, especially under a new regime, just to see how it works out, I'm excited to see the potential of that Fields and Darnell Mooney connection. I'm excited to see that flourish into a wide receiver one type of connection there. And even though we do on paper look thin at receiver, it's going to be interesting to see who steps up, because when there is what you call a gap in like positions, if they, like let's say we don't have any big names in a position, oftentimes that creates space for guys that have less names to pop up and emerge as viable receivers. And I'm not saying that's going to happen 100% of the time, but it at least creates that opportunity, right? So it'll be exciting to see who of our, and that's why I like Pohl's decision. He went out there, and it might be an unpopular decision, but he went out there and he picked up a lot of guys. He picked up a lot of receivers that aren't these big name receivers. They're cheap. He signed them to sort of 1 year prove it deals, and it's essentially prove it, prove yourself, prove your worth. And for a year like this year, where it's the start of hopefully something that we can actually build upon, let's put this is our first building block. If and in a year like this, getting guys like on prove it year deals is fantastic, and especially with all the cap space that we'll be able to play around with in the future. If we can build something like this, and if we're able to see those receivers, if there's glaring weakness at receiver this year, then we're not in a position to worry because we have cap space, we'll have draft picks next year. So this is awesome to me, and I really like Darnell Mooney coming in as a rookie. He exceeded expectations, especially we got him. I remember we got him in the later rounds, so he could emerge to be a steal. And it's exciting to see Darnell Mooney see what he can do at that next step with this new offense. And Fields is going to be developed along. So it's going to be exciting to see this new receiver core. And I think Mooney has the heart. He has the speed. He has to work on his route running. And his hands are that stat that I read. It speaks for his hands on itself. So I think he will be a true wide receiver one. Obviously, he has to go out there and prove it that he is with the best, and we will see. We will see how he does. But I'm excited to see him get that opportunity at least to prove himself, and I think it could be the start of something special. We'll see. We'll see if we go out there and sign someone. But yeah, I like Darnell Mooney a lot. I'm excited in his potential working with Fields. I know they are the two that stay on the field the longest to get the reps in together, so they're building that connection. Wide receiver one and quarterback, that is the most important connection to have on an offense. It will really drive an offense, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see how it goes in OTAs. If you have any comments about Darnell Mooney, if you think he could potentially be the guy, or if you think he's undersized, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section, and feel free to leave a like, and we will see you in the next video.